Good afternoon.
Yeah, so let's wait a couple of minutes. I think I can see some of still in joining. Yeah, so we can start now. So basically this is the webinar of the RF optimization based on the mainly Ericsson OSS KPI, but it's not limited to Ericsson. Once you will go through that course, you will get to know all the vendor, like all the vendor like Nokia, Huawei, Ericsson. Those are three major vendor of in global uh, uh, telecom scenario. Okay, so before that, I would like to introduce myself. So my name is Rajesh, and I have experience in the field of RF technology more than uh, 18 years. And I have worked for all the major, Indian and global operators, okay, and vendors. Okay, so regarding this course, okay, so what we will cover. So yeah, this is the table of content. So what we are going to cover in this course is the first you will get to know that LT basic and 5G basic, then VoLTE basic. Basic doesn't mean that we will just tell you or how that LTE or or 5G or any technology working. Basic means you will get to know that how that functionality of LTE end-to-end functionality of LTE is going to be work. So we will cover those those topics in detail. Then we will also cover that counter level optimization, then parameter tuning, and the most important thing that interview preparation, because I can understand that most of the guys are new in this industry and they wanted to job. Uh, that's why they are here to attend this training. So definitely we will provide you our guidance for interview, and we will help you to know how we will crack those interview with real time interview taken with some of the operators guys who is who is working in this industry. Okay, so okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so in LT basically in LT topic, what we are going to cover is that LT architecture. So where you will come to know that what all the uh, nodes and interfaces are present in LTE. Then the basic LTE call flow. In that call flow, you will get to understand that how that call is getting set up. Regarding all the calls flow, like whenever we are moving from one location to another location, that is called as handover in the telecom scenario. So you will get to know that how that call is getting transferred. So those all flow that will be going to be covered in this course. Then that if someone is interested to do that drive test, then we will provide you that layer 3 analysis training as well. Then that the major focus would be LT KPIs, counter and parameter. So how this KPIs on daily basis, how you will going to optimize, and what counter and what parameter involve, that, course of optimization. So those topics we will cover it. Then that next would be, soft optimization process. And soft optimization process is basically that, how you can, without, going to, site or, real time location, how optimize the network through your, through, remote location through that parameter and counters. Okay, then some of the tool also, we will cover. Those will, help to, analyze those KPIs and, drive log and all. Okay, so the major, things will become that, okay, you will get these, all the conceptual knowledge. So that is fine. But how, you will utilize this knowledge in a real time, in operator or, vendors scenario, so that, you need to understand that, what is how, you can log in that, in that their system. So those kind of, tools, and, how their terminology for all the alarms and all. So those things you are going to be learn in this course. Okay, and you will get to, idea of, how, if you will stuck in a scenario, then how that, you will troubleshoot. And, real time that case study also we will share in this course. Okay. So yeah, let's move to next slide. Okay, so coming to that, 5G. So think now you can see that, 5G in 5G is almost, present in everywhere. So our focus would be more on 5G. Okay, although that, 4G and 5G is, initially it was interworking. Still some of the operator are, interworking with the 4G and 5G, and some of the operator are standalone 5G as well. So those things we will, majorly cover it, because in nowadays you will see that, more jobs in global job scenario, you will get more jobs in a 5G. So that, we will cover those all things, in, from basic to, advanced level of 5G. So that course will, cover that deployment option of 5G, then 5G key features, then essay non-essay model description. So that, earlier you might heard that, some of the mobile handset is only, only supporting that non-essay, and very few handset. But nowadays, everything is, a standalone network. SA is abbreviation of standalone network. So that is 5G only. So those, things we will, cover in this course. Then that 5G nodes, what all the nodes and what is their functionality. Then again that call flow, like, how that, an SA network will, work, then SA network will work through that, all the steps, how that, call getting set up, how that, handover is happening, how, that, suppose you are transferring your call from LT to NR or NR to LT. So everything that will be, captured in that call flow. Then 5G KPI counters parameter and case study. So those are, the major things which is nowadays, whenever you will face any interview, they will ask the question from that, KPI, that, what KPI you are, optimizing and on daily basis. So those, we will provide you training, so that, you could understand those KPI, and you can, you can, answer that, with, confidence. Okay, with what counters, what parameter, and the real time case study as well. So okay, the next topic would be, VoLTE. basic. So in Volti basic, you can see that Volti call flow, Volti KPI, Volti parameter, and case study. So apart from that, nowadays that instead of Volti, some operator are switched on that 1 hour. So that portion we will cover as well, because that voice uh, is currently is kept in both voltage and the NR. So both in both scenarios, some operator are opting that only uh, voice call would be come in voltage, that is the legacy, and some operator have switched to that 1 hour. So that portion also we will cover along with real time case study, KPI, and call flow. Yeah, then that counter level optimization and parameter tuning. So yeah, you will not you will not get that if suppose you are uh, studying that through that Google or YouTube, the real time real what the updated counter, what is the updated KPI formula, because that every day that network is evolving, and with that there are lots of new counters, new KPIs are getting to add in the that analysis process. So those counters level optimization, so that we will cover that. Suppose you are facing that any kind of issue in any KPI, then what could we that CR is basically that change. So what kind of changes you will provide, so that that analysis, that how your network performance before that your changes, and what would the network performance after the changes. So those things we will also capture. Then that parameter tuning is basically that suppose for like you are getting call drop, right? So what kind of parameter you will check in network, and how you will tune those parameter, what could be that baseline value of those parameter, what could be where how much value you can optimize those parameters. So those kind of real time scenario we will explain in this training. Okay. So if you can go to next slide. Okay, then that bonus thing is basically that is fine that you have learned all the things, right? But ultimately you need job, right? So for job we will get you that more than 150 interview question, which is in current scenario, which are the operator or vendor asking. And we will also provide you some mock interview call. So that is not that is with industry expert. So those things we will cover it. So that is until unless we will not get appropriate job after getting this training, we will try to uh, provide you assistance so that you will crack the interview, okay, and get the job. Okay, so this is regarding, yeah, this is the regarding that basic structure of what is going we are going to capture in this training. So apart from that we have some real time case study. Okay, so might have you already work in that RF, so they can correlate. But if you are very new in this RF or telecom industry, no need to worry, just look at this slide. uh, Once you will get this all training, you will understand everything. For now, those you have little bit experience, so they can correlate what is this slide is about. So basically this is about ENDC setup success rate, there is some problem. You can see uh, from the top bottom of KPI chart, there is some fluctuation of KPI. Okay, so the you can see that the problem with ENDC setup success rate. So the idea is here to improve that KPI. So how you will how you will how you will optimize those KPI. So for that certain step you need to follow, like you can see on top corner of there is one plot, right? So in circle, black circle area, you can see that site, and surrounded there are lots of site. So in blue and red dotted, that is the coverage plot of this slide. So the coverage plot denote that how much your the coverage, that radiation of this site is getting through. So those kind of tools we are using. So those tools you will also get to understand, and you will get we will provide you some training on those tool as well, so that while analyzing you can take the leverage of the data from those tools. That will help you to that will help you to provide that what could be that RC of any issue. So here you can see that this site was kind of overshooting case. So that is that is overshooting, that need to be little bit uh, uh, little bit down tilted or up tilted based on that platter. So you can see that we have provide the detailed RCA of this, that involve lots of parameter, that you can see that there is called RF symbol. Okay, RF symbol, that for this particular scenario, that RF symbol utilization is higher compared to that PDCCH and PDSCH allocation utilization. So what is basically happening here, that your there are two part uh, one part is that signaling part, and that another is that data part. So in this scenario, what is happening, that due to that overshooting, lots of mobile trying to latch with poor coverage, and that is taking lots of signaling resource, and that is getting highly utilized. So in this scenario, what we can do, we can little bit down tilt, so that its coverage will be limited, and that nearby mobile that will latch on this network, and they will get little bit good coverage compared to that far away mobile. So in that scenario, you can see once we have down tilted based on the clatter and what coverage plot, we are observing some improvement. So that earlier it was that TNDC success rate was 97.4%. Post that that the improvement we are observing 99.83%. So this kind of this is that real time optimization. So those kind of optimization we will provide you in this training. So go to that next slide. Okay, again you can see that in this case study you will get to know that there are two problem. Okay, because this is the this is that LT and NR both network are there, and one site having both functionality. They can work for and that site have LT also, NR also. So what we are observing here, there is that NSA retainability problem and LT AFR problem. So here we have provided that RCA, what parameter could be impacted for that retainability and AFR. So AFR, you can see that in this scenario, what we are observed that uh, the user basically is based on that a sale here I would say that all the sale having coverage limitation, like there is some parameter which is called sale range. From that parameter we can limit that coverage. So for this site, the most of the user was uh, are far from that site, so that the distance was around 15 to 20 kilometers. So there are we are observing lots of attempts are happening, but the problem what we found for this sale, this the coverage was limited to 15 kilometer only. So we are getting that lots of rejection in accessibility because of that sale range limitation. So we have increase that sale range. Basically we are increase that coverage area from 15 kilometer to 23 kilometers. So you can see that accessibility of LT got improved from 4.22% to 0.09%. So there is huge improvement you can observe. So same thing for LT retainability, sorry, NR retainability. So here also we have proposed, but if you are working as a vendor company, so operator would not sometime operator would not try to make changes. So here we have provided changes, but that is conflicting their baseline value, so they haven't approve those changes. Like here we are try to change that people retransmission value from 80 to 85. So in those kind of scenario, what you can do, you will search that different parameter for same KPI. So those kind of training also we will provide, like for same KPI there there are hundred of parameter you can tune. Okay, so suppose operator is not allowing to change because of their policy to not touch those parameter. So you will have idea that okay, this is the not working for this, then we will switch to different parameter. Okay, so this is the one of the case study that is also for real. uh Go to that next case study. Okay, here you can see that this is the case study of LTE network. So you might heard that RSSI issue. Okay, so nowadays there are lots of RSSI issue, and that is a major I would say that 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 is the major issue operator is facing, that RSSI, due to that interference that is coming through your on source or from different source. So those kind of analysis, and what would we know that what would be the parameter those, or how physically you can recommend something that would help you to improve that RSSI. So those kind of KPI also we will capture, and you will get to understand that what is that RSSI value, how it is impacting that network, how it is impacting that KPIs, and how you will resolve those RSSI value. So RSSI is one of the critical KPI nowadays. Okay, and that you can in left hand side you can see that we have uh, some RCA for voltage drop as well. For same site we are observing two kind of issue, that is voltage drop. So here you can see that correlation through that voltage drop and RSSI. So you can see that when the RSSI value was in range little bit low, then that there is no voltage drop issue. There are very less voltage drop. But whenever that RSSI got increased, that voltage drop is getting also increased. So that will impact all the, not even that voltage drop, that will improve, that will degrade your all KPI. Okay, so those kind of scenario, how you will fix that RSSI. So once you will fix this RSSI value here, you will fix lots of KPIs. Okay, so these kind of uh, optimization also we will capture. Okay, okay, so go to that next case study, please. Okay, so here you can see that for a single KPI there are lots of RCA. There are lots of RCA. You can see around 10 to 12 RCA with different signature of those RCA. So what is happening here? You can see that we are observing that ENDC setup success rate, uh, and for that we are finding that what could be that what could be that what could be that RCA for that issue. So what we come to know that for this scenario we are observing that high QPI modulation sample we are observing, then high utilization, then sellage user are very high, and some missing turn point to E node V. So this kind of uh, for single issue you will get lots of signature. Okay, so there are lots of counter and parameters are present. So from once you will read those parameters, you will understand, okay, this is the problem. Okay, so there are for single issue you will see there are multiple problem, but the solution would not multiple. Solution are would be only one or two, because we cannot make lots of change at the same time. Because if we will make lots of change, the network will react very sometime very uh, badly, and your the other KPI also will be impacted. So you have to do that optimization step by step. So here you can see that final recommendation that to be at that missing turn point, then limiting the coverage area. So if you will limit the coverage area, so in first case you can see, in first case study you can see where we are improving that coverage area by uh, increasing the sale range. Whereas in this scenario we are reducing the sale range. Okay, to limit the coverage, but we cannot blindly reduce the coverage. You have to analyze that what is that uh, distance between two sides. Suppose you are reducing the coverage of one side, the other side need to be cover those area. Otherwise, there would be no coverage hole between those two sides, and that will create more problem. So those kind of real time scenario we will provide those scenario, and show you how you can optimize in that case. Okay. Yeah, so go to that next case study, please. Okay, so this is, you can see that voltage drop. Okay, voltage drop is getting increase. Basically, in daytime, you are observing that we are observing lots of voltage drop, which was not there earlier. So what is happening here? So all the network is getting evolving, right? There are lots of site getting getting integrated in between of two or three site, because the operator want to improve their capacity and coverage for better user experience. So what is happening? during those time that that new site which are getting integrated, that is creating KPI issue to that existing site, because of that new site doesn't have correct parameter setting or proper optimization. So suppose you are involving in a project where uh, operator are adding new carrier or new sites on existing, because all the operator are old only, right? They have their network, but they are continuously evolving their network, and for that they are adding new site or new carrier on existing existing network. So those kind of optimization is very frequent in all the operator scenario. So those kind of what is the impact of adding those new carrier. So here we are try to capture that suppose for this particular scenario there are lots of drop is happening due to handover execution failure, and because of that one particular sale. Okay, so there are lots of neighbor and try to hand over with a particular sale, and all the handover is getting failed. Because of that that the new sale, that offender cell which having problem is newly integrated, and that is not uh, properly tuned to cope with existing cell. So for that for that you need to optimize that that neighbor cell, because sometime the problem with not in your own cell where you are seeing that KPI issue, the problem will come with that neighbor cell. So in this scenario, there is a single neighbor cell is contributing a bad KPI to 5 6 neighbor. So we have optimize. We have to optimize those culprit neighbor cell to fix that issue. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think this is the last case study, right? Or do we have more? I think this is the last case study. So now think most of the things we have captured. So if you have any question, yeah, then you can ask regarding anything. It's not regarding that optimization. That if you have any question, how you can enroll in this course, anything you can ask.
Hello. Guys, any question? If you have any query, you can ask. Otherwise, you can connect for those who are interested for more learning. Okay. Thanks to joining today demo. Thanks Brajesh. Thanks Paul. Thanks Deepak.